Hey everybody, it's Brandon back in the bomb shelter today. Today we're going to go through an exercise that's incredibly challenging. You're going to watch it totally kick my butt today, but it's an immensely important exercise to develop a really underemphasized skill, which is visual memory and learning to draw from memory. So let's jump into it.
All right, we are going to go through the process of doing a repeat memory drawing. The key here is really the memory drawing part of it. Um, so this you don't necessarily need to repeat this to get the benefits, but I feel like repeating it, there's an extra benefit that comes from repeating it as far as kind of picking up the little pieces that you missed the first or second or third time around. And the idea is eventually, the more you do this and the more you get comfortable with doing this, the more pieces you can record and track the first time around. So let me explain kind of how this is going to work. So I have an image here. This is an image I pulled off the web by James Harren, amazing artist. Uh, he's got a great book he's done with John Arcudi called Rumble. Highly recommend you check it out. Um, anyway, so some of the components of this drawing that make it good for a memory drawing are that it's fairly simple. You know, when you're starting out doing this, you don't want to get too crazy, and sometimes too many details can distract you from kind of the big shapes. So what we are going to be doing here with this drawing is I'm going to take 5 minutes just to study it, just to kind of look at it. And you are invited to play along at home. I'm not going to actually, in the video, I'll kind of skip through me actually studying this for 5 minutes, and then we'll jump into the drawing. But I'll include a link to the image, or I mean, you can just really take it, screen cap from the video, however you want to get. I'll try to include a link, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to study the image for 5 minutes, just look at it, and then I'm going to completely hide the image, and I'm going to see how well I can draw the image from memory. So I'm gonna do that 3 times. So really, what we'll probably see is just see me kind of skip through. I'll kind of speed up through the actual drawing part. But I want to talk about some of the things that I am going to be thinking about as I am studying this and trying to uh, complete this memory drawing. Let me make sure. I'm going to bump up the image size just because having a larger image helps me to have a um, a finer brush quality. So your image size. Interesting note is that your image size doesn't just affect the image that you're drawing; it also affects the quality of your brush. I can get kind of a finer brush stroke by having a larger image. So I want to talk really quickly about the things that I'm going to be looking at as I'm studying this. Let me just do a quick overlay here. I'm going to be looking at, the parts. So let's talk about what I mean by the parts. So the first thing I'm going to be trying to remember is all the pieces. I'm trying to remember his eye, his ear, his mouth, his mustache, beard, neck folds, nose, his brow, his head. Those are the parts. So the first thing you need to think about is you're trying to remember all the parts. Now, you also kind of want to start by paying attention to the biggest, most prominent parts. I'm not going to pay quite so much attention to the details like these little lines and scars. That's not quite as important to me. The blood across his head, just the main parts. So you're going to be remembering parts, um, and then we're going to be remembering relationships. I think it's, yeah. Relationships mean how far is this nose to the edge of the screen? What size is this ear compared to the nose? How close is the eye to the nose? And it also, we're thinking a little bit about shape too, but mostly we're trying to compare objects and think about how big objects are compared to one another. How big they are, how far apart they are from one another. But it's relative. So how big is this mouth shape relative to this nose shape? How far are they um, from each other? So that's what we're thinking about there. The last thing we're going to think about is angles. All right, so I'm going to be thinking about, we have some round shapes, we have some more angular shapes, but even round shapes have an angle to them. So I'm going to be thinking about what is the angle of this beard, you know? And that angle looks like it might be, maybe 100 or so degrees. I don't need to tack that number to it, but I want to do my best to pay attention to the actual angle. Try to think about these angles and get those right. Um, this nose is going to be a lot trickier because any round things, one way I think of any round shape is that it's just composed of lots of angles. So remembering that shape and getting that shape right is going to be a little bit trickier. Um, but so those are the main three things I'm going to be studying. The hope is that the more that I do this or that you do this, you aren't thinking so hardcore about all the little pieces, but you are able to start thinking about in a more gestalt way where you're thinking about everything all together and you can kind of conceptualize it in one big chunk. Honestly, I'm not to that point yet. Maybe with a little more practice, but those are the main things we're going to be talking about. With that in mind, I'm going to set a timer. I'm going to study this for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to draw as much as I can until I feel like I have nothing left. So here we go. Let me turn this off. Okay, so just trying to remember the big shapes. You can see I kind of sketched out just the overall shape I thought I picked up from looking at it, and then just trying to place the details the best I can. I mean, I can already tell as I'm doing this that most of what I can do is just get a really vague idea of what the pieces are and where they go. That is about all I can remember. I know he's got some blood marks. I don't know exactly what those look like though. I can just kind of fake those. That's as much as I can remember as far as the pieces and getting as close as I can. So let's now look at. I'm going to save this. And let's look at how I did. I'm just going to let's see, turn this off. Oh boy, and I can just kind of compare this to the original. And let's just kind of make some markings of the areas I got wrong. We can look at some of the areas I got right too. Okay, let's switch my brush back to a red brush. So we're going to kind of review the areas I messed up, and then kind of the areas that are closer. And okay, the mustache is. I think the mustache is actually probably one of the closest pieces. I mean, the parts are there. Most of the parts are there. They're kind of close to the right positions. But I mean, the nose wasn't long enough. The nose should have been bigger. Um, this mustache shouldn't have come out past the nose. And so a lot of these things are this as I do this, I start noticing the stuff that I should have been paying attention to when I was studying it. For example, thinking about where the front of these teeth are compared to the nose. You see how they're kind of a little past halfway through the nose, and here I had them come out way too far. Um, I was pretty dang close on, so at least I got that figured out right. One thing I did not pay attention to is where the jawline started. Jawline's actually right here. I put it way over here. The eye, my eye is too high. Eye is actually right here. So you can see what I'm doing here. So on and so forth. I'm just kind of seeing all the places where I got it wrong, and just trying to kind of reassess uh, the drawing, how I might remember it better next time. Of course, this brow needed to come up. I don't need all this. This just comes up and disappears off the top. All right, so now that I've had a chance, that's my first attempt. So I'm gonna make a second attempt now. So I'm gonna give myself another 5 minutes, and then we will give this another shot. Okay, it's been another 5 minutes, so it's time to give it another shot. Here we go. Okay, second time around here, trying to respond to some of the notes I was looking at the time before, trying to get kind of that sense of the 3/4 in there and figure out if I can get the placement of the pieces right here. Um, I'm thinking a little bit of trying to capture some of the energy of it, but with trying to remember all the pieces, I just think that sometimes can be very challenging. So I'm just going to do my best to kind of lay things in and get some of those angles right. And then I must have been feeling pretty cocky because I went over and tried to clean it up a bit with the hope of getting that feel just a little bit more right from the original. Okay, that's my attempt number two. Attempt number two. So let's see how we did on attempt number two. Oh, some ways it's better. Let's look at attempt number one again. I'm gonna flatten these down. Attempt number one. Attempt number two. It's getting better on attempt number two. Let's look at the original. Okay, so there's our original. What are some of the errors I was making? All right, let me white this down just a little bit so it's not so glaring. So again, I'm going to go through the same process. Just kind of make notes of where I kind of got off. I got it wrong. Things I got closer this time. I got that the head kind of disappears around here and comes back around here, but it's not quite the right place. One thing that I'm looking at on the original that I didn't get right is just there's this kind of directional angularity to it that I'm going to pay attention to next time around, which is this ridge. I kind of got that there was this ridge here. I got kind of the right ins and out, but I didn't get them in the right angle. You see how they're kind of angular like this? Mine are kind of pointing back the other way. They should be kind of angling forward. So I'll think about that next time. Oh, this nose. This nose is a trick. I'm trying to think of how I can conceptualize this nose to remember it right. It's such an amorphous shape. Um, but let's see. Mustache, beard was kind of in the kind of close, but even that could be more angular. That's still pretty soft. That needs to be a much sharper angle. It's like a, and then the teeth. This is the front of the teeth right here. I need to kind of remember that. Front of the teeth. That the teeth are not just a curved shape. There's a front to the teeth. So and there's a kind of a space between, a little shadow there, space between where the mustache starts, and that the mustache is not just a swoop, but it kind of goes straight and then kind of does that a little bit. Okay. And even the nose kind of has this angle too. I should kind of remember that. There's these angles all the way across. This whole thing kind of is angled this way, kind of like in that direction. See if I can remember that. Okay, so just trying to take note of some of the things I missed this time. And let's do number 3. Let's do pass number 3. Okay, here we go. This is our last round. We're gonna just go with whatever we get this time. This will be our final round. Deep breath. Let's dive in. Dive in the deep end. Okay, last time here. I took a little bit more time on this one. Definitely thinking about more about those angles this time. Trying to get it leaning forward. I was even trying to think more about those neck folds, thinking if I can get those neck folds in the right place. And we're going to kind of look at this nose and the relationship. The angle of the beard and the mustache is seeming a little bit weird, and so I'm kind of working with that a little bit. Um, but I'm trying to figure out the shape of this brow. I spent a lot of time kind of looking at that, trying to get the shape of that brow right. Again, we'll put in this ear. I think we've got a good sense of where that ear is supposed to be. Um, and then, we might just clean it up a little bit again and see if by cleaning it up, that's going to help give it a little of the energy from the original. But again, I can tell there's just something a little bit off. He almost looks like he's smiling in his beard, and so I'm sure we'll see pretty soon the areas where it wasn't quite right. Okay, so that's number 3. Let's just, I'm going to flatten it down. We'll take a look about how close I got on number 3. All right, so some things are better. I think I really struggled with getting that nose right. The angle, I'm thinking the angle of the face, of kind of the edges here, I got pretty close on. Um, let's see if I can point those out. So yeah, these angles are pretty close. That's not far, but they just needed to come out further. The beard is pretty dang close. I really struggled though to get that nose shape. Every time I drew, I really struggled to get that nose shape and the mustache in the right place. Those ones are really tough to get right. Look how squished I made them this time. Placement of stuff isn't bad. I mean, this kind of shape here is pretty close. His eye is pretty close. The ear is not far off. The ear I got pretty dang close. But even the beard needed to come out a little bit. The angle needed to be a little bit more open. See, my angle's pretty more close to it, a 90-degree angle. And it needed just to come out a titch. You can see the where the beard needed to be. I mean, obviously, right, because I didn't put the nose in the right place. The beard's not going to be quite in the right place either. My nose needed to be thicker, um, and all that's related to these angles, getting these in the right place, and then I can kind of relatively figure out where everything else needs to go from that. So anyway, I'm gonna put them all together. We'll see all three of them, how all three of them look together. One, two, three. Some things, there's some things I like about the second one a little bit more than the third one, although the third one I think is actually more accurate. So this is just kind of a quick overview of how to do this memory drawing. I think I'm going to attempt some more of these. They're a great exercise. Um, I really could even do, I mean, the more attempts you do of this, I think the better and better, the better it can get. So, maybe I'll try doing one where I'm doing 4 or 5 attempts in the future, and we'll see what I can learn from that and how I can grow and what experience I can gain from that. Uh, anyway, thanks again for checking out this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or thoughts, please leave them in the comments below. And if you like this, well, like the video, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.